Hello there. My name is Dr. Fritz Karlheinschel, and today we're going to be discussing one of our latest patients whose name is Karen. This is Karen. She's a 27-year-old Asian American woman who came to us explaining to us her recent situation, how she just got a new job in Washington, D.C. She's been there for 6 months, and she seems to be suffering a bit of social issues, social interactions, normal. And we wanted to explain to her that this is normal because she just recently started living in this new area. So we want her to be as relaxed and calm as possible and make her realize that this situation happens to almost everyone who moves to a new area. The other issue, though, has to do with her feeling unassertive and dependent. She's always identified herself as a child that needs adult supervision, that needs adult consent to anything, and we realize this goes way back to her childhood times. And here's what we're going to discuss is Karen's problems seem to be having with developing her own idea of morality, not just what she was brought up to believe as a child. She also seeks help in learning how to trust herself and the decisions that she makes within her everyday life. In this form of therapy, it is safe to assume that Karen's current symptoms are the result of choices as she has made in her life up until this point. So that actually brings to mind one of the therapies that we were using, which is Gestalt therapy. And that therapy within it has two types of interventions that we thought would be perfect for Karen's situation. And here we go. A little more info is that Karen's character is one that is unassertive and dependent. We've discussed that. With social settings. This is due to an upbringing which did not allow her to form her own opinions during childhood, and now that affects her in adulthood. Karen was raised in a home with a strict set of ideals and a fixed perspective of morality. The symptoms produced from this inability to generate her own moral code include difficulty meeting new people, constant mental crippling self-doubt and guilt, and a belittling self-image as a woman. Now, this is a theory that we decided, Gestalt therapy. For those of you who don't know, Gestalt is actually coming from a German word which means shape or form, which means anything that you cannot separate any part of that shape or form, because then it loses its essence and uniqueness. Now, what we want to realize is, what is Karen missing? And here we go. As an existential form of psychotherapy, Gestalt therapy puts a strong focus on the personal responsibilities of the client. So we need Karen to be aware of her situation right now, who she is, and what she has to do. And here we go. Now you might ask yourself, why would we choose Gestalt theory over all of them? Well, the overall concept of Gestalt theory is to create a larger capacity of choice in Karen's life, and which will point her towards taking control of her responsibilities. Karen needs to understand that she is currently facing these symptoms because her transition from childhood to adulthood was placed in an environment which strictly restricted her ability to develop opinions. This fixed concept of morality imposed on her parents has created self-doubt in her choices and completely restricts her from being her true self, whether internally or within a social setting. These are the problems which we can help by using Gestalt therapy. Using Gestalt therapy, Karen will be assisted in developing her own sense of self and will broaden her capacity for making decisions. This inability to form her own opinions and to be able to be her true self are the main sources of her conflictions. Gestalt therapy is also used for this case because it works effectively amongst all cultures and is culturally friendly. Another applicable benefit of Gestalt therapy for this case is the concept of focusing on the present, which we discussed previously, which will demonstrate Karen and her own upbringing and no longer has to affect her current sense of self or her opinions. Now, the two interventions of Gestalt therapy that I mentioned earlier are to be used. They are called making the rounds and the reversal exercise. Now, we already did the making the rounds effect on Karen a couple sessions back, and she did very well. She did very, very well. She said she enjoyed talking with the people, and she seemed to do much more progressive. And the last one, which is reversal exercise, that's the one we're going to talk to today. And we're going to make Karen try to act the exact opposite of how she's feeling right now to see if there's anything that we could possibly work with. And here's our result. So Karen, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty great.
Do you know what we're going to do today?
I'm honestly kind of confused. I read the description, but can you explain to me what it is we're going to do?
Of course, Karen. I'll explain to you clearly what we're going to do today. The discussion that we're going to have today is actually one that, another kind of experiment that we'd like to try out. It has to do with not being yourself, or being your true self at the same time. Do you understand?
So you're telling me that you want me to be myself, but not be myself at the same time?
So what we're actually going to do is kind of like a reversal exercise. Not necessarily are you going to do that. I just want you to express who you believe you really are. Because based on what you told us in previous sessions, that there's something you keep holding back. We've dealt with a lot of self-doubting, but that's okay. You've been doing very well since then. Right now, we just want you to act how you normally are not allowed to act. Because in this room, you were safe. In this room, all the moral codes that you were taught have no effect in this room. I want you to be as freely open as you truly believe you are.
Okay, I guess I could try that out.
Excellent. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say a couple of words, and I want you to act them out or explain how you think the exact opposite would be.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay, so how about this? In your own way, describe to me someone who seems the opposite of dependent.
I guess someone who's not dependent would, I don't know, cook for themselves, like take care of themselves on their own.
Oh.
You know, I think I do.
All right. Well, let's try something a little bit bigger than that. What else would someone who's not dependent do?
I mean, I guess a person who wasn't dependent wouldn't care about what an authoritative figure would tell them, I guess. Kind of like the opposite of how I am at work.
All right, that's fine. And, let's see. How would an unassertive person not be?
I guess an unassertive person would just kind of take stuff or not know how to handle a situation. I guess I would be a type of person who would not care about or not be scared to handle social interaction.
All right, that's good. Now, to one of these last ones, the one you seem to be having the most issue with is being emotionally reserved. How about this, Karen? Why don't you express to me how someone who is not emotionally reserved would be, in your own words?
I guess a person who wouldn't be emotionally reserved would be the exact opposite of how I am. They'd probably build better friendships because they wouldn't have to worry about holding something back. They'd be able to not start fights or not have arguments with people because they'd get their points across genuinely. And even if it would be something like a fight, they'd get over it quickly. I feel like I can't build real friendships or meet people genuinely because I'm not being genuine. I don't know when I talk to someone, I'm scared. Like, the way that I grew up, it wasn't okay for me to tell people how I felt. I had to live by a certain code. I had to do certain things a certain way, and if I didn't, it was just not okay. I felt at trouble with myself. So maybe if I was to change this emotional dissonance that I have, I could probably make better friendships or make some friendships now because I have no friends here. Uh, I kind of fucked that one up. I kind of just I guess a person who isn't emotionally reserved would probably be the exact opposite of how I am. It'd probably be a person with a lot of friends and a person who knows a lot of people because it's a person who could be genuine with people. I think my biggest problem is that I can't be genuine with people. I feel like when I talk to someone, I'm just talking to them. I'm not actually building a connection because I'm just saying words. I don't mean any of the words because I can't tell them how I really feel about certain things. Because I grew up in an environment where it just wasn't okay. Like, I couldn't say certain things or say I felt a certain way about something because of the way that my parents would look at me or my family. I didn't feel right. So I guess if I was maybe less emotionally dissonant, I'd probably be able to build friendships now. It's hard for me to do that. But maybe if I was to be able to fight it, I'd be able to finally build some friendships in Seattle.
You know what, Karen? I think you're getting the hang of it now. You know what, Karen? I think you're starting to get the hang of it. I really think that you're making some progress here. How do you feel right now?
I guess I feel like it's up to me to make friends. I guess I'm just gonna have to start acting genuine with people, telling them how I feel. Maybe I'll finally be able to meet somebody. Maybe I'll finally make a meaningful relationship.
Let me ask you one more question, Karen. What are you going to do as soon as you walk out of this building?
I guess I'm gonna go home. It's kind of late already. And I'm gonna think for a little bit. And come Monday, I'm gonna make a friend. I'm gonna be genuine with somebody. Yeah.
Then I will see you Tuesday.